Hi everyone and welcome back to SwitchUp, and a big thanks to Dave Morrish for writing this review. Sonic the Hedgehog, that surely needs no introduction. The blue blur made his debut back on the Mega Drive on the 23rd of June 1991 as Sega's answer to Sega Mario. Although he hasn't taken the throne as king of platformers, it's safe to say that this character and franchise has been a huge success with a rich history, a wealth of games, a dedicated fan following, and the most successful movies based on video games possibly today. Not too shabby for a character once called Mr. Needlemouse. So now Sonic Origins has released on the 23rd of June 2022 to mark that all-important 31st anniversary, bringing us a collection of some of Sonic's earlier games, being Sonic the Hedgehog, Sonic 2, Sonic 3, Knuckles and Sonic CD. So did I have a blast processing this collection, or did I lose chaos control? Well, let's find out. The original Sonic the Hedgehog games were defined by one basic mechanic: speed. Sega wanted to make a character that could blast through the stages as fast as possible, and with this in mind, as you load up the Green Hill Zone on the first Sonic game, you'll notice how the level design really caters to this idea, with plenty of slopes, ramps and loops to really give you a sense of how fast your character was moving. But it isn't just a case of simply pressing right and he shoots off. Building and maintaining momentum is key to getting through the levels quickly. The controls in general are quite simple, designed as a single button platformer, where the A and B button acts as both a jump and an attack. Pressing down while running let you roll into a ball along the ground, and holding down and pressing A or B lets you charge a spin dash. The main collectibles across all titles are rings. Collecting 100 of these nets you an extra life, and in some of the games they're also used to access special zones, but more on them later. The mechanic here is that these rings act as your hit points. When you get hit, you drop all of them, and if you get hit without them, well, it's game over, you die. And in a nutshell, that's essentially Sonic. The 31-year-old first game is split over 6 zones and 3 acts, the third of which ends with a battle with Robotnik, or Eggman if you prefer, with a final boss at the end. It still holds up to this day, and although it was the first game in the series and Green Hill Zone really showed off the feeling of momentum, when you got to that second zone, Marble Zone, things slowed down, with lots of pushing blocks and waiting around for a platform to move. Finishing a level with 50 rings gets you into the special stage, as you struggle to get Sonic through it to find that Chaos Emerald without hitting one of those goal spaces that would end the stage. In Sonic 2 then, we saw the introduction of Tails, his fox sidekick who also acted as a multiplayer component. Let's be honest though, they'd mostly get left behind, but it was still pretty cool. And this time around the special zones were accessed through star posts, also the game's checkpoints, slip sliding your way around 3D half pipes to collect Chaos Emeralds and unlocking Super Sonic and the real ending. It's nice to see that the competitive multiplayer makes a return, and this involves a split screen where you can race through the stages, all the while being scored in 5 categories: score, time, rings, total rings and item boxes. So it's more beneficial to take your time and explore the levels to collect as many rings as you can, defeat enemies and find item boxes rather than just race to the end. And you'll find a bigger selection of levels here than you did back on the original. You'll find Sonic 3 and Knuckles in their combined form rather than as 2 separate games that were sold at retail. Sonic and Knuckles was released as part 2 of Sonic 3 and had a lock-on cartridge. Inserting Sonic 3 into it would let you play both games as one long campaign. This time Sonic and Tails are travelling to Angel Island. They introduced a double jump, elemental shields, fire or electric, with the latter pulling those rings towards you, and the special zones would be accessed through giant rings. It was a grander adventure than the previous 2 games, with a good variety of levels and gameplay elements, and it's one of the more significant stories in the Sonic lore. Moving on to the final game in the collection, it's Sonic CD. It was developed in Japan at the same time as Sonic 2 was being developed in America, and at one point they actually planned to make an enhanced version of Sonic 2 for the Sega CD, but they went on to make an entirely different game. The gimmick, if you will, of this one involved time travel, with 4 versions of the zones starting in the present, and you could find signs that read past or future. If you hit a past sign and can reach a high enough speed back to the future style, you travel back in time, and defeating Robotnik's machine in the past would lead to a better future. And conversely, if you fail, well, bad future. Here you'll find a return to the 50 rings collection for those special stages where you're given a 3D map and you're running around destroying all those UFOs. It's incredibly fun. Across all the games, the boss fights are quite varied. They usually revert to just bouncing on Robotnik 8 times before his machine's destroyed, but the designs of those are creative and provide a fun challenge. The ring mechanic means that brute forcing is possible for some of the fights, but the further you progress, you'll come across some different designs that require learning patterns and forming strategies. The 4 games included here are both presented in their classic modes, where you have limited lives and game overs, and also anniversary mode, which gives them all widescreen support, as well as giving Sonic his dash drop move from Sonic Mania. It's as simple as holding the jump button while in the air, and he'll dash along the floor upon landing. Also included is the ability to play as Tails and Knuckles across the 3 numbered games, and just Sonic or Tails in Sonic CD, with each character having their own strengths and weaknesses. When you do play in Anniversary Mode, you'll have unlimited lives, so when you get to 100 rings or reach score milestones, you'll gain a coin. These are then spendable in the museum or to instantly retry one of those special zones. In my opinion, these 4 games included are absolute classics. They're still fun to play through today, providing plenty of challenge, especially when you're hunting down those Chaos Emeralds. The Anniversary Mode makes these games accessible with the infinite lives and autosaves, and purists can still enjoy the classic versions. Even if these aren't 100% accurate to the originals, Sonic 1 shouldn't have the spin dash, but you know, can't have everything. You can definitely see how the series evolved over a few short years playing through them in order, but those simplistic controls and brilliant level design that the series is known for, along with some slower areas too, has helped these games age well, and they were a lot of fun to begin with, and still most certainly are. Gameplay scores 18 out of 20 and controls 19 out of 20. Originating in the early 90s, these games unsurprisingly have a pixel art style you'd expect from that 16-bit era. This collection has faithfully recreated it, and as mentioned, you can play all 4 of the games in Anniversary Mode with widescreen support, and they just have never looked better. I always enjoyed the multi-layered backgrounds with that parallax scrolling. It just gives it a sense of depth. Everything's running at a silky 60 frames per second, and importantly, I didn't experience any slowdown in the places I normally would on other versions of these games. There are animated cutscenes to introduce each one as well as end them, and they are beautifully done. The character models and animations in-game add a lot of character as well. Sonic is very much a product of the 90s, with that all-important attitude, seeing his expressions when you leave him idle for too long. It's all these small details that make the game so memorable. And the level designs are excellent across the board. The one glaring issue here is Sonic 3. Some of the tracks are missing, presumably due to Michael Jackson's involvement causing licensing issues. It wouldn't be too big of an issue, but unfortunately the tracks they've replaced them with, well, they really just don't do the game justice. As far as sound goes, the effects are all present and correct, from possibly the most enjoyable sound effects ever, that of collecting a ring, to the most stressful music ever, that little ditty that plays when you're about to drown. Oh, and get used to the jumping noise when playing Sonic 2 with an AI Tails. Before, he'd fly back to you when he gets separated, but now you never see him again, but you constantly hear him jumping for the rest of the level. It's strange it keeps happening, and I've seen others talking about it, so hopefully that gets patched soon. Overall though, they've been faithfully recreated in widescreen, and they've never looked better. The soundtrack for the most part is amazing, and had they managed to secure those missing tracks from Sonic 3, I would have been tempted to give sound the full 20 points. And everything looks and plays just as well in handheld mode. Visuals score 19 out of 20, and sound 17 out of 20. Sonic Origins costs £32.99 and regional equivalents are on your screen now. There are some DLC packs available for £3.29 each, one being the Premium Fun Pack and the other being the Classic Musics Pack, or you can buy the Digital Deluxe Edition for £36.99, which includes everything. The base price does seem a bit steep for just 4, albeit classic games, but I will say that after playing the Wonder Boy collection recently, this one really does feel like a lot more effort and passion has gone into it. Lots of little details like the menus, with the different games represented by the islands that they take place on. There's a mission mode where you take on smaller challenges to go for a higher score, a story mode where you play through all the games in one go as Sonic, including extra animated cutscenes, boss rush mode for each and every game, and the other features I mentioned of Anniversary Mode and being able to play as Tails and Knuckles. It is a shame that there aren't other games available, such as the Game Gear titles or Knuckles Chaotix. They could have increased that overall feeling of value. I'm torn because you can probably tell I love these games, but on reflection, I do feel it's too high a price for 4 games. Even though the amount of love for the series is evident, I would give value 13 out of 20. To conclude, Sonic Origins brings 4 fantastic games that brought Sega's Blue Hedgehog to the limelight back in the 90s. 31 years later, they are still just as fun to play today, and they look great. It's a shame about the price point and the missing tracks from Sonic 3, but the games themselves are a great time. If this was around the £20 mark in a sale, then I would highly recommend it. It gets an overall SwitchUp score of 86%. Thanks again to Dave for writing this one. Do let us know in the comments what you think. He knows so much about Sonic. I had to trim out a good chunk of knowledge. So yeah, Thanks, Dave. Nice one. If you do consider checking out any of these games, then make sure that you use our 10% discount over at switchup.gg. We get a little kickback from that. You can get all your eShop vouchers over there just using code SwitchUp. Also on physicals, you can save a little bit on PlayAsia. All the links down in the description. Thanks to all of you and to our patrons. And for all things Switch, all the time, keep it Switch up. Cheers, guys. See ya!